We have some super quantum action for you today, Blackwing action and Centurion and much more. Make sure you get smash the link crap out of that subscribe button. See, guys, don't miss out on more offs. Kind of finally, somebody came through with super quants out here and actually made a workable list for this. Now, once we get some K9 cards, I mean, this deck is going to be way more cool and way more playable. And honestly, I'm already kind of excited for what's to come on that front. But starting things off here, we are going with 3 of each of the new ones in the main deck here. And then, of course, just 2 copies of the new spell. I mean, that was all of your support that you initially got. We're maximizing on having all of that, you know, be here to assist you. Now, remember, your game plan here is obviously, you know, Fiendsmith cards helping you out to be able to set up a very strong board. But your game plan is, we want to get to the Great Megazord here to make it so that we have the once per turn we can detach a material to shuffle a card on the field back into the deck, make this thing unaffected, and then we can make it so that the opponent cannot add cards from the deck to the hand by card effects. That is one of the most broken boss monsters you can have for a game. And also it stands at an apex of 3,600 attack points. So I assure you, Duelist, if you think that you are going to have an easy time overcoming super quantums out here, I don't think you're going to. And also, I recommend this deck for the locals experience out here, depending on what your local meta is. Especially maybe even if you've got a Rogue Knight or something. And, you know, obviously don't play, you know, Fiendsmith cards if you're going to a casual night. But I think for, you know, just being able to make the big boss monster, I mean, it does take a lot of resources to do. This is like 2-3 card investments to get to this thing. But if you get to the big Megazord, I can confidently say that you're probably going to have a little bit of a good time. And you know what? That's good enough. All right. So really, really awesome to see. Next up here, we have Blackwings for you. Now, I don't know who keeps having success with this deck and just has not let Blackwings go. And I'm happy for you, actually, because there have been so many Blackwing duelists that have been coming to fruition out here. If you don't look for this deck, you won't find tops for it. All right, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, one Blackwing deck topped 16 at Nationals. You kind of look back around, and you're like, but there's no other challengers out here. That's because they are a little bit far in between. I do see that we are playing a copy of the Blackbird Close in here, which I really wish we could actually search for this, but it is a little closer to be able to set up. I've been seeing a lot more of these lists. I've been playing Bora the Spear as of late. Bora gets you the extra free special summon extension, so that, you know, you can obviously have the extra body to synchro with. That's actually really, really powerful, especially coming from an era where, you know, Bora fell out of the deck and then Bora found its way back into the deck is really good. And also, you know, when you're playing this deck, you kind of have to rely on Small World to be that bridge gap in order to get you to, you know, the additional pieces that you need. Interestingly enough, we're not doing Bestials or Lubellion stuff in here. There have been a lot of strategies fairly recently that were playing around the Blackwing stuff that was relying on the Bestial cards in order to kind of get that big setup and, you know, be able to power through your opponent. But that's not what you're dealing with here. I think you've got most of your pieces kind of established. You also do have some board breaker cards down here. Actually, tossing the Raigekis and Lightning Storms to your opponent in the Evenlies, especially in terms of going second, I think it's something that Blackwings kind of need to have. We're in a really weird place that a deck like Blackwings has to rely on good power cards in order to kind of get through the meta and be able to set up. But alas, this deck actually did it. Next up here, we have Centurion. This one's actually from a friend of mine. He actually ended up winning his sneak peek. Now, the current Centurion investments out here, I gotta tell you, man, this deck is, it feels very fragile. But if you do get this deck to get off of the ground, you know, we do jokingly say that, you know, having the two, once the second Cosmic Blazar Dragon usually touches down, you've probably won the game. It doesn't really matter at that point. You got the snowball advantage train going. You know, your opponent's just looking at you going, you know, well, what am I supposed to do about this? Nothing. That's what makes this deck, you know, as annoyingly powerful as it is. Now, I do see some interesting options here. We are side decking the Bonfire. I don't actually hate this idea. Having access to the bonfire in the side deck does get us into the Trudea if we need. Just one of those things in the main deck. I don't really think we need it, so I think that's fine. You also do see that we have Book of Moons down here. Depending on how your locals might shape up, Book of Eclipse could be, or Book of Eclipse, Book of Total Lunar Eclipse, being able to book the whole field might be a little bit better. You do risk losing to Ash, so I mean, keep in mind that having the 1-for-1 change here is pretty good. Also do see that we have the Pot of Prosperity in here as well. I feel like they're just trying to make sure the main deck is as streamlined as possible. You know, you want to be able to use your search for the Lubellion to get into the Branded Regain, or really any of those potential bases, because if you got a lot of Droll and Lockbird running around in your meta, you are not going to want to have fun playing this. All right, that's just 100% a massively true guarantee that if you've got a lot of Droll, be very careful with your searching aspects, because I can understand with these decisions being made here that you want to make sure that the deck is going to have the best results for you so that you can, you know, continue to play the game. And that's fine, everybody. Next up here, we have Crestron for you. Now, straight down here in the side deck, oh, I see some sauce. We're playing Blizzard down here. Target a face-up spell your opponent controls. Negate the activated effects of that spell card and all spell cards on the field with that same original name. And if the targeted card be sent to the opponent's graveyard this turn, is added to their hand instead. Yeah, that's a free negate on any power spell that you might be wanting. And that's actually humorous as crap to actually see. I see, leave it to the Crestron decks out here to come up with the coolest ideas that you can see out here, because this is beautiful. I love the idea of this. I also do see Mr. Vidos walking back into the arena out here and doing his job. Vidos continues to be the oppressor out here of field spells, and that's the thing we like about this card, because if we know that you're doing some stupid field spell shenanigans, you just Vidos take care of your problems, especially now that we are heading on into more and more devastating formats out here. You know, being able to choke point out the Vanquish Soul field spell is going to be very, very, very good. All right. I do think that that's going to be a very important thing to help you. Also, we are going with Super Polys in here. We're not doing the Horus stuff. I don't also hate the lack of the Horus cards. I think, jokes aside, being able to kind of take that step away from those Horus cards and be able to, you know, objectively go, okay, well, these cards are very, very strong for the deck. Maybe having, you know, the more board breaker side of things here helps out. You've got different ways to approach the deck building process with this, and that's always going to be fine. It just depends on what strategy and cards that you think are going to work out for you. And then we have some Mitsu Orcust for you. Now, this is the build that everybody that loved Orcust but loved the modern era power scaling of the current meta kind of feels like they've been gravitating towards, because you want to be able to, you know, you like Orcust cards, you want to set up, you know, the power cards, you like the ability that you can steal your opponent's stuff, and all of that's fine. That's what Ellen Grisu is for. You know, this card is supposed to help you out, but also you like what the Mitsu package gives to you. You like the board wiping side of things, you like the good constant cycle here, you like the fact you can ritual from the deck, but that's all fine. It's just you bridge these two engines together to get what feels like the much better results out here, and I think people do kind of like that a little bit more. See that we're going with the Call by the Grave, and of course the cross out in here, actually having the anti cards present here. Also see we are going with the Tactons, have the Great Purification on the load up out here, and I also see we are going with the droplets for the board breakers in the side deck to be able to access Thrust into the D-Barrier or the Eradicator. You know, kind of take your poison with which one you need to go with. You've already got the attack talents built into the main deck, so you'll be able to find whichever power card you need. Also, your Super Poly targets are pretty basic stuff. You know, these cards get the job done, close out the game in your favor, yada, yada, yada. I love this game. So, a lot of interesting stuff for Duelist Advance. I've loved all of the cool ideas that we have seen so far. I expect to see some other cool stuff in the future, but what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.